If the worst thing you're gonna do is tweet about it, I'm gonna keep doing it. That's the worst thing you got is just, man, this sucks. Well, then, are they still buying? Well, then keep raising the price. The only thing that's gonna change is it's affecting their bottom line. So us as consumers say, you know what? This right here was $2, now it's $4. Not gonna buy it. When they see their quarterly earnings and they see they went down 25%, guess what happens?
We are back to wrap up 2024. It has been quite an interesting year. We have a couple guests to jump into it. We also just have to say, like, we're normally Aaron's not here today, had some business stuff to work on. But to start off, we have Easy Shot. This guy is killing it on the socials, man. He's putting out always good content. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, man. Easy Shot, real name LOA. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, so I've been doing this thing for a while. I do a lot of community service here in Atlanta, but mostly known for my marketing stuff. I pivoted into politics because I feel as though our community is not as informed on certain things. So it's just making it and breaking things down. People don't want to see people in a suit. They want to see people that look like them, that are knowledgeable. And so I wanted to fill that gap that's been there. So it's been a fun ride, man.
Yeah, definitely good stuff. We also have, MVP from Juxtapose, who's been on rap before, but we're gonna we're gonna try to condense a year of stuff into a short time, because if we talked about everything, we'd be here for a very long time. So we're just gonna start off with kind of some of the notable things, and we'll have other things as we go along. So starting at what I call is 10, which at this time is like a current news. The United CEO shooter, I can never pronounce his name right. I'm just gonna say Luigi. That whole case has been like trending right now, and it's kind of crazy because it's dealing with somebody's death, but people are also on the internet not taking it seriously at all because they feel like this guy is avenging something. So what are y'all thoughts on that? Let's start off there.
I mean, it's crazy because you got to think that any CEO of a healthcare company, I looked this up, they made between $10 million and $30 million last year, right?
Crazy.
They could not be covered. They could opt out of their own healthcare at their own company and pay everything out of pocket and not feel it at all, right? So when they get gunned down, because we've seen that they moved into AI as far as approvals and denials, and we see they've had an increase in denials of claims, meaning people who needed life-saving care cannot get it because of an algorithm. Right, we don't have as much sympathy for that. Now, a mother of 3 gets gunned down by some random guy, totally sympathetic.
Different story.
But someone like that, who he may not have actually killed the people, but he had a hand in the decisions that led to that situation happening. So that's why people aren't really as sympathetic.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because you see like even a couple, there was a woman in, I think it was Florida recently, who had to deny, I forgot the actual statement, but she said it in a on a call with Blue Cross, and they like arrested her. It's like the FBI is like really trying to stamp it down and slow down all of these conversations and I guess copycats. But MVP, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's crazy. I understand the whole point of him being a asshole, but to put that level of thought into finding him and just assassinating him like that in like, it's not broad day, but just like out in the open, it's just crazy to me to see like the state of the world, because I just don't feel like people were doing things like this back in my day, making me feel like at my big age back in my day people weren't doing these things. And I'm like, I'm the type of person, did it really require, they just gonna put somebody else in his place? So I'm like, did it really require you to kill him? Like, was that really the answer in this situation?
Well, I'll say this, her name was Brianna Boston, by the way, and her claim was denied with Blue Cross Blue Shield, right? So we're seeing that, yes, they may put somebody in charge, but they'll be a little bit more apprehensive in making those decisions, right? We see that there's an uptick in denials. Maybe let's approve a bit more. You know what I mean? Like, if the deaths of that one man saves, I don't know, 200 people's lives because they pulled back on the algorithm, is that a win? I mean, it's tough to say what's a win and what's not. But at the same time, if we see a shift, even in the smallest margins, a win is a win.
Yeah. I also actually I don't know if this was actually timed there, but there was a point with Blue Cross where they were in New York. They were trying to roll out that you only pay for half of your I don't think about it. When they put you under, they were only allowing you for half of it, and it was like that doesn't. And then they literally right after this happened, they reversed that idea. So it'll be interesting to see what the long term effects of some of these things are. But to MVP point, yeah, there's gonna put somebody there, but there is gonna be a space where they're like, these decisions actually matter. And I think that the healthcare industry has worked with impunity, and they have been able to do whatever they want for a long time. So,
Well, let me pose a question because I feel what you're saying, Easy. Because yes, it is going to deter people from making like greedy decisions, but then I'm like, do we want that to be like anybody watching this is going to be like, okay, well, if that actually made a change, should we just start doing that across the board? And that's my only like caution or concern if it works the way this guy wants it to work. It's just that you don't want people to start thinking, okay, violence is going to get things done, because people use violence even when they know it's not going to get it done. They just like violence. But imagine if the violence is actually being productive. I think that's a dangerous place to be in.
But that's where they put us. That's where they put us. You got to think, though. Think about the main gripes that most Americans have, right? My groceries are too high. Well, the Kroger CEO, one of the Kroger executives, was in an email saying, hey, let's overcharge for milk and eggs, right? If the worst thing you're going to do is tweet about it, I'm going to keep doing it. That's the worst thing you got is just, man, this sucks. Well, then are they still buying? Well, then keep raising the price. See, we're not going to see changes happen until we take those matters into our hands. And I'm not saying that violence or shooting the CEO of Kroger is going to make a change, but we do impact them in various ways. It's not going to come from a politician, right? When Kamala Harris posed the plan of, I think, the FTC or the SEC going after these companies, that was a good start, but I wanted to know more. Of course, we won't know more now. And we see that Donald Trump is like, it's kind of tough to stop raising prices. Well, we know right now that means that's not going to change. The only thing that's going to change is it's affecting their bottom line. So us as consumers say, you know what? This right here was $2. Now it's $4. Not going to buy it. When they see their quarterly earnings and they see they went down 25%, guess what happens? Price better come down.
100%. The one, I guess, going further into that too is how do we actually get more people to rally around some of this? Because we do see a lot of people are frustrated with stuff, but it's like, it's annoying. I'll complain about it, but I'll just deal with it, right? Like it's just how things are. So I guess what's your thoughts on like how do we do this from a grassroots effort without necessarily having to go to the gun?
Well, consumerism and capitalism kind of drives America, right? Yeah. We've seen with companies like Target, Subway, McDonald's, right? They had bad Q3s. And so when they had those Q3s, what did Subway do? They came out with a new meal, $6.99, sub, chips, drink, getting back to the old days with the $5 footlongs. I think we're all around the same age. So we remember those back in college, keeping us alive, right? Yeah. We've seen the McDonald's said, you know what? We had a bad Q3 where they bring back snack wraps. They brought back more value-based options, right? So we're seeing that change happen. Now, how do we make that change happen on a broader scale? We have to let people know that because of this, not paying for things and stepping back, they made this change, and here are the results. So if you want to see change about the cost of certain items, stop buying them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I wish there was a better way for us to actually say, hey, collectively as a group, and especially another conversation that we have all the time as Black people, if we choose to stop supporting certain things, you would definitely see people respond to things differently. But getting people to that point is also like the fun challenge as well.
Because I was gonna say we've had a couple of those where like Chick-fil-A, they were supposed to cancel Chick-fil-A, and who's gonna stop buying Chick-fil-A? They hold on, the NFL. Hey, I didn't even register that. I did not even register that. That's funny, actually. And then the NFL, like, hey, we're gonna stop watching the NFL because of the situation with Kaepernick and everything, and that didn't work. So I don't know if there needs to be like something else that happens.
Well, the Chick-fil-A one was funny because I remember at the time it was happening, all my LGBTQ were like, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, wait, why am I stopping my Chick-fil-A? My evil chicken. And you're literally not letting me, like, you're not participating. But it is very interesting that we need to, like, have those conversations and at least come together so we can end up in a place where we're actually making change. So, well, moving on from that topic,
Okay.
onto something a little bit more interesting, and has caused many debates within our internal conversations. But we're talking about Haley Welsh, the Tuah girl, and the fact that she became a millionaire. Oh well, sorry, excuse me, correct, billionaire. With her whole crypto thing, and now it feels like she's in hot water. First of all, what are your thoughts on just her meteoric rise to fame in what I call a very short time?
Well, you got to think, let's think about how it all started. They're doing the whole man on the street interview type situation. He's in Nashville, Tennessee, walking up to the people. I saw a deeper context from the guys who posted it because, and I'll get to why they're posting their whole thing in the first place, but they were just out there talking, asking general questions, how do you keep a man married, things like that. It was actually her friend who was standing next to her that was like, man, let's ask some spicier things. And he was like, spicy? Okay. Ask that question. She gives the iconic answer, right? From there, we see her doing club appearances for some reason. We see her doing different things, sponsored deals for whatever reason. This is just America now. And when asked on another podcast, did you ever thank the guy, for taking you from a spring factory, which is where she worked at, to this place that you're at? She was like, thank her for what? You see, what I've noticed about people is when given the opportunity to become the capitalistic asshole that they hate so much, they will absolutely take that time to do so.
Yeah.
And we've seen this with her then taking a meme coin, which I heard on CoffeeZilla, the Twitter Spaces that happened, that during that interview, they've been working on it for months. And she's only been famous for about a year, maybe like 9 months. So they said been working on this for the past 6 months. So you're saying the absolute second that you started gaining some notoriety, you started plotting on this rug pull, right? So this is already pre-planned. And so we should, like typical influencers, they build an audience and then take advantage of that audience. And has she addressed it? Not really. She had the Twitter Spaces, and then that was it. She logged off by saying, all right, I'm going to bed, good night. That's it, right? Stole her fans' money. And it's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very interesting, and one of the debates that we had internally, which I definitely want you to be the final voice on, is do you feel like she was an industry plant? I know that term gets used around very loosely, but like, do you feel like she was an industry plant?
And so,
Oh, go ahead.
Who's this question directed to?
No,
Right.
it's directly
My first
easy
book.
because we've had this argument already.
Okay,
No,
cool.
I think industry plant gets thrown around a lot.
It
I
does,
think
yeah.
that Ice Spice was somewhat of an industry plant, but we've
For
seen
sure.
this industry plant term get thrown around. I think that her rise was just, typical young white girl that, says something that's really catchy. It goes crazy. It took us a while to even figure out who she was because she never really made herself known. Right. So when she did figure out that, I can capitalize on this, she started getting more vocal. We've seen her start to taper off. Talk Tuah, the show has seen less and less view per episode. So we see right now that she doesn't have staying power. Right. But she is trying to capitalize on her current state right now.
Yeah, go ahead, MVP.
Why, thank you for inviting me. So we had a big debate about this, and I got a little passionate because I'm in agreement with you, Easy. I just don't like every time someone does something and you don't know about them, you think they're an industry plant, right? And when I say you, I'm talking to whoever thinks like that, right? Mm-hmm. So when the question was posed, is she an industry plant? I'm like, we literally saw her do this interview and say it, and then society, the internet, social media took her and blew her up. That's not an industry plant. I think an industry plant is someone of higher power puts you on, and all of a sudden you show up with a Drake interview for your first podcast.
Bobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
No shots.
That's a
Bobby.
good example. But that's a good example.
That's an industry plant.
We've seen, because she did mom content. My wife followed her. She does mom content. Pivoted out of nowhere, and next thing you know, Drake is laying in your big bed having an interview.
Crazy.
Her uncle or something like that. Like somebody in her family is in the industry, right?
Yeah. Somebody, and then they were on the same manager or something like that.
Under the same manager.
Well, the reason why I was even pushing the industry plant with her is that, to your point, Haley Welch, after that interview, no one could find her for I want to say it felt like 3 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
No Instagram, no nothing. Then all of a sudden she came out and it's like she had this well-crafted plan to use that to be successful. And then she went to then having the number 2 podcast or something. I'm like, how
Mark Cuban was on her show.
that's how do you pull that off without having some kind of grease? So to me, it was like there definitely has to be something working in the back, which to the point of the industry plan, it doesn't mean that that interview was a thing that she did intentionally. But once somebody saw that, they're like, hey, let's put money behind this. She's making money off of merch. To your point, to pick her to do this, the crypto, the Tuah coin or whatever. Literally, it's like someone had to be organizing this. You can't tell me you went from making springs to being able to pull together such a wonderful campaign in such a short time. So to me, that feels like there's something going on in the back.
Well,
so
let me ask the question then, because I was thinking about this after our conversation, because I do want to be a fair person, right? So if I get known for something from someone who has the money and resources, and then they put me in a place to succeed to the point where I scam people, is that an industry plant?
Yeah,
Because
it's exploitation. That's all it is. It's not an industry plant. It's just exploiting the opportunity that was presented.
I would rather it be coined that than industry plant,
Mm-hmm.
because especially since I make music and stuff, I look at it differently. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, well, all right, I will accept that. I
rest my case.
This one. Yeah.
Rest my case.
I want to ask a different question though. Same situation, same man on the street interview, same response, same everything. Young black girl.
No.
Same type of level of fame, or killed right there in the comments.
She would have been killed like there because, first of all, it's inappropriate, right?
Yeah.
And there's already this sexualization of black women, so I think it would have been taken in a more like, why is she doing that? Oh my, like this is why black women this and this, and I think it would have had that type of effect, or people just wouldn't have talked about it.
So you're saying that the black women are held to a higher standard of excellence or decorum versus a white girl?
I think
100%.
black people in general, like even from a family raising, like, hey, your white counterparts can do certain things, MVP, but you got to make sure your shirt's buttoned, your pants is pulled up. They can see your eyes, they can see your hands. You know, you can't, like, when you walk into the store, you got to let them know, hey, I'm just here to buy stuff. I'm not on any, type of thievery, anything like that. So, and I know I'm going deep with that, but like that is a level of awareness that you need to have as a black person, I think. And so that puts a standard, right? That puts a certain level of pressure on moving in these streets, I think.
Yeah, I second that. I mean, I think of, even just like in work situations, there's certain things that you want to make sure that you're code switch to make sure that you're like not in a place that makes people threatened. Like I'm a big black man, for example, and I feel like I know going into certain situations, I can't be too aggressive, because if I raise my voice a little bit, or stern, then it's like, he's in this hyper masculine. He's upset. He's like, and it's like, no, I feel strongly about this, and I should be able to speak on it. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you know what? Easy. I'll give you a prime example. There's a black, I don't know how old she is, so I'm gonna say woman, but it's called Cooking with Kaya or something like that.
Yes.
And all she's saying is cook for your man. And
What is that about? Is she like just literally just cooking? Is that what it is?
She's just cooking. She literally, because like streaming life.
No,
so she's literally streaming.
No alternative sites involved, or just straight cooking.
Well, I don't know if there's. I don't know,
You said
because
something
I think
like
she
that.
do a little bit of twerking. I think she do a little bit of twerking
Okay,
just to make
I'm
it
like-
fun. But I haven't heard of any alternate sites though. So based on the information I have, it's someone who's cooking, and she said, "Hey, if you ain't cooking for your man, like holler at me. I got him."
That's great.
Which the statement is crazy, but like she's not. is she wrong though? Like
That's what
men
I
like
always said.
well cooked meals. I don't know what
I'm
to say.
sitting here like, is cooking that hard? Because you gentlemen are alive, I see. You
Yeah.
eat food.
We figured it out.
We eat food. Mhm.
That hard to do? Like, I don't think that's that difficult of a thing, or even that high of an ask to say, hey, cook for your man. Like, I cook for my wife sometimes. She cooks for me. Like, it's not a big deal.
Both ways.
You know what? That goes into a deeper topic, not really connected to this, just about this the stuff that's like said on the internet, and it's just like people come up with these things, and unfortunately, I know that most times they're coming up with it just to trend and just to say something that's salacious. But it's like, like even the 50-50 conversations, or like all of these things that are like podcast conversations that you're like, there are a lot of other things we could be talking about. Why is everyone talking about this? So I think some of those stuff are definitely in that realm where it's like, why do you care? Like, why, if either you do or you don't, like, and we see in most relationships, I feel like people do what's important for them. They don't, like, all of these extra things that people put their standards on don't always match to everything, and it's, it's fine. So yeah, I just people keep my friend keeps telling us that the price of podcast mics are too cheap, and I'm like, no, they're not. It's just that people keep trying to do things that are trending, and it's annoying, and it is what it is. But
Oh, I get it, because so many people have a podcast.
There's so many people with it. Yeah,
Too abundant. Yeah, access.
yeah.
Okay, I get it.
So, okay, cool. It's a perfect transition into the potential end of TikTok in the USA. Like, I didn't think this day would come, and truthfully, there may still be appeals, but it sounds like they actually have a date now. So, what is that? What is your thoughts on that? Especially Easy, because I know you use TikTok pretty heavily. So, what do you think is going to happen, and where we're going to go from there if it actually does happen?
Well, we got to think about what the ban actually means, right? So I read somewhere, and I don't know to what degree this is. So when the ban does go into effect, it's not like we go on our app January 20th, the day after, and it's just dead. Nothing's there. I think what I read was that you can no longer download it. So those of us that have TikTok already, cool. If you're new, hey, let me get a TikTok. Can't do it. It won't be in the App Store, right? Yeah. I think that's where we're going to be, because to say that an entire demographic of your market share just disappears overnight is kind of insane. I think some access will be kind of stripped, but at the same time, people find new avenues, right? I've heard of Lemon 8. I've heard, Blue Sky is a new alternative to Twitter. So there's different avenues that we'll take. Now, will they be, adaptable so quickly? Who's to say? But I do think that there will be other avenues for people to express themselves. And I think the deeper context of it is this was an app where people were galvanized on, right? Because Instagram does the same thing. Facebook does the same thing. They all do the same thing. They collect data. You give them permission when you first sign up for the app. What is so different about TikTok? Well, it's the Chinese app. One, they try and spin it on that way, saying the security risk, as though we're just putting our social security numbers on TikTok. But at the same time, it's a place for people to create buzz and bring awareness. One of my most viral videos was about how Kamala Harris only put away 1,900 men when it came to those arrests, when it came to drugs. We thought it was thousands, right? That goes crazy. That becomes a talking point across America. Me sitting in my house in Atlanta, Georgia, helped change a conversation, a narrative in America overnight, right? That kind of power is dangerous to the government, because if something happens and there's a cover-up, it can be exposed and sent out and made nationwide news overnight. And they don't like that.
Yeah, I definitely think also, the big tech bros have played a part in that as well, because, I mean, who's their biggest competitors, right? The Instagram, Facebook, I mean, Facebook exists, but I don't really use it like that. So I definitely think that definitely plays a part as well. So I agree. I don't think, to your point, I don't think it's going to disappear. But I mean, the way that they're going about it is it sounded like they're going to try to just let it go out. So you're not going to get any updates. Eventually, it's just going to die. But it's, to me, I didn't think that time was going to come, because they kept pushing it. So it's interesting to see that actually happen.
Well, let me say this too. We're seeing a lot of things be connected, right? Back in June, Supreme Court makes their rulings like they do every year, right? What was one of the rulings that plays a part in this? It was that bribery or some form of it is now legal. Follow me on this. So we see that the TikTok ban is proceeding. What happened yesterday with Mark Zuckerberg? They're giving $1 million. Meta's giving $1 million to Donald Trump's inaugural campaign. Same thing with Jeff Bezos, right? Inaugural campaign. This is just payment for, hey, Appreciate you looking out, big dog. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. But we're seeing that that's legal now as long as you're making it in a different form. So we're going to see a lot of that. Something may happen, and all of a sudden the politician gets a consulting fee. A judge gets a sitting on the bench fee. You know what I mean? But it's legal now.
Yeah, that bothers me, especially with the stuff that like when we're seeing like Clarence Thomas getting flued out and stuff, and it's like, yo, how is that okay? Now you're like, okay, well, it's not that big of a deal anymore. Like, it represents a time in America that changes things in a way that I don't necessarily know how it's gonna be for the betterment of the people. It's like unless if you're not in, then you're pretty much gonna get screwed.
Yeah, I mean, people say, politicians look down on people, but let's think about it like this. How many times have you gone to a restaurant with your significant other, had extra food, passed a homeless person, and drove right by, right? You don't look at those people in the same light as you do. Even if you're not going to spit on them or anything like that, but you don't really care what happens to them. It might be 32 degrees in Atlanta, and you see a person outside standing with just a small jacket on. You're not going to give them a bigger coat. Same thing with politicians. You might do well. You all might make 120, 150 a year. That is nothing in comparison of a person that gets paid $950,000 a year, right? It's the same kind of way that they view you. So we need to stop looking at politicians, especially ones that are making a lot of money, to save us with anything, because you aren't trying to save a homeless person. To them, you are that homeless person. It's sad to say. You might have a nice house, nice car, but that ain't me, baby. I make 9 times what you make. You see what I'm saying? So I just think that we put too much solace in the savior from politicians to make policy changes that are not for us. Another policy that I saw, a bill that was introduced, I think by Bernie Sanders or somebody else, that hedge funds could not buy single-family homes, or at least could not buy past a certain amount. That bill was introduced and never talked about again, right? And that was one of the things I do. I provide that information aspect. But we see that given an opportunity to actually help people, they will sit on their butts and do nothing because they can be paid off. Because BlackRock, Blackstone, all of them have more money than your average person. We shift blame a lot of times to different avenues to kind of place that issue. So for instance, buying single family homes, people said Airbnbs were the reason why single family homes are so high. I had 5 of them. I was just paying market value, whatever it was. I was just paying that amount. I wasn't taking so many, right? But who was buying up all the homes? Blackstone, they bought between 500 to 800 homes per month in America.
That's crazy,
right? And they sit on them for a couple of years because they can afford to raise the price from $250,000 to $500,000, and now that's the new price of a home. So that's why we're in this situation now.
Yeah, but I guess the one question then is like, as Americans, who do we place that blame on? Because theoretically, the politicians are supposed to be the people that are the representative for us in making these laws and making these decisions. So if they're not doing that for us, then why are they there, right? And what's your thoughts on that?
Well, remember when I was talking about Haley, like she was just making springs and whatnot. The absolute second she got some money, she immediately turned into the bad guy. Immediately, right? So a politician like Tim Walz was the poorest person in those 4 people running for office. You know what I'm saying? As the vice president. He doesn't have any assets. He doesn't have any investments. He just has his governor's thing that he lives in, and that's it, right? He's a typical everyday person. But let him get a hold of some money, and let's see how he acts. People's true character comes out. So it's tough to say that a politician that was in the streets, I was a city councilman for Atlanta, I'm fighting for the people every day. The absolute second I become the governor, do I get corrupted? Who knows? You didn't, because you knew me when I was fighting people in the city. You were sitting next to me, helping me with my initiatives. But the second I got that power, I became corrupted. So it's tough to say.
Yeah, that's very true. I guess my last question on this is like, what do we do as citizens to push that in a direction, like push in a better direction, or are we just like, or just the game we're playing?
I think you have to threaten them. Hold on. Not with violence. Not with violence.
Yeah, you gotta
threaten their jobs, right?
Yeah.
You have 2 years as a senator. Year
Make it
1,
work.
here's your review. We haven't seen things we need. You're in the hot seat, big dog. You have to treat them like you're a shareholder. You want to keep this $120,000 this $200,000 a year job going, or do you want to have a book deal and hope to God it sells? You better do something right then, man. Mitch McConnell is an example. He has been doing terrible for years. He has fallen 3 times. He fell last week, and they still vote for him.
Oh, really?
They're not holding him accountable, and that's what needs to happen.
I agree with that. Any thoughts, Nick? The MVP?
I mean, we went around. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the politician thing is crazy, and I agree with the like holding them accountable. With the TikTok thing, I think it was going back to them like wanting TikTok to handed over, or TikTok didn't want to play ball. I think, to go back to the bribery type situation, they didn't want to play ball, and that's why we're here. Which I don't think they have to play ball, but it's just interesting that it's able to, like, they're actually able to do this, because I haven't. Is this the only app from like a foreign country that's we've been using, or is it just because it's just super popular?
Yeah, it is. Everything.
It's the only one?
TikTok, Twitter, they're all domestic. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from a social media standpoint, there's always I don't want to say this, people, because I've been avoiding them like the plague, but Temu, that I feel like they're definitely mining our data all the day with those cheap things. I literally avoid even looking at the ads, but they're not. They're just giving services versus like being able to actually collect more data from people actually adding stuff to it. I guess I don't know. It's very interesting. I don't necessarily have a strong understanding of why this was the main one that they pushed, but
Yeah.
But then again, when they were talking about the ban, they were able to use TikTok to get young people to start calling senators. So I think that proved their point. Is like literally they can, with this influence of this app, they literally can have people go a direction. So to Easy's point, that's manipulation and stuff that they can't really control. So
I mean, you have to look at, how people are consuming information nowadays. We're not looking at CNN, at least via TV, by the way, as far as our news source. We're looking at TikTok. I mean, I was walking around getting my wife's stuff today, and I was looking at my phone right on TikTok. Any news that comes in now, of course, I'll fact check it, but I'm consuming a lot of my information from these channels. And we're seeing more and more that news stations, politicians are starting to use these platforms to get their messages out. And I don't think they like that. Like you said, I don't think they play ball. TikTok is just doing the exact same thing other companies do. Facebook is notorious for selling company data or people's data. But they were no scrutiny whatsoever, except for Mark Zuckerberg gave that generous inaugural donation of $1 million yesterday. That's what happens. When you play ball, things happen.
Yeah, I'd leave it at that. That TikTok didn't play ball, and this is what's going to happen when you don't play ball. So,
transitioning to, I guess, changes all over the world. This actually happened at the top of the year when I was researching it. I didn't realize it so long ago, but like the whole expansion of the BRICS nation to include so many different countries, and then people kind of spell that as like the debt of the dollar's reign over things, especially since the plan is to no longer use the dollar for oil sales and stuff like that. What do we really feel like the dollar's gonna die, and what is that gonna mean, especially now in this Donald Trump, super crypto focused world?
I think that these countries that are involved in BRICS are just trying to get off the American teeth. Right now, we control, like, most of the money that we have in circulation is not in America. It's in other countries, right? And so if they get off the dollar, they're allowing themselves that independence to make decisions. Right now, we have a lot of people by the balls, a lot of countries. But if they get off of the dollar and have a different currency, then they don't have to care about us that much. These tariffs and everything won't mean as much to them, right? At the same time, this isn't something that's going to take a year, because BRICS was started, 2 years ago? Something like that? Yeah. And we haven't seen much traction because, of course, we're in America. Now, who's to say in 10 years will BRICS be a significant threat? Perhaps, right? You have some major players. You got Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And we have more countries that, they didn't add them to the name, obviously, but you have more countries that didn't add it to it. So I don't think it'd be talked about as much because we don't want to kind of stir up the pot with American citizens. But I do think BRICS is starting to get some traction. Yeah. And who's to say in 10 years if there won't be a significant threat to what's happening in America?
It's very true. I mean, I personally, I feel like I don't know as much about the what's being used by the dollar and whatnot, but I just keep hearing when that happened, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this is the end of the dollar as we know it," and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm wondering if, this is leading to some of the things that are happening across the world in general as America tries to shore up their dominance, I guess, which. That's a whole nother conversation. But
I just feel like it's like the Avengers teaming up against Thanos, and I'm like, but this is the real world. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think America is gonna allow it to go too far. They're gonna just like watch them and be like, okay, but there's people behind the scenes that's gonna make sure certain things don't happen. maybe I watch too many spy movies, but I just like you think this is the first time someone's tried this? I'm like, we've been dominating for a long time, right? So I just don't think that it's going to take off like they wanted to. And that's probably why they're teaming up, because they're like, everybody has currency, right? Like, everybody has their own currency. So, but it's just that, especially with the crypto stuff going on, you like, there's too many things you got to worry about. I don't think you're going to be able to really take over stuff with this BRICS thing when you got crypto that's been trying to take over for how long? So, like, how long has crypto been out? Years, decade, right? Like,
Yeah, at least.
but you're going to come around with BRICS and you're going to be able to do it? I think people would rather have something electronic than physical at this point. Now, I understand that they might be using it for, like, oil or some other stuff like that as far as the BRICS is concerned. But you're in a competition. You're in a ring with a lot of players, right? So if I'm America, I'm like, I'm watching y'all, but I'm not too worried right now until it's warranted.
I actually slightly disagree. I think they
Okay.
actually are worried.
You think they're worried?
Well, I think they're worried just because I feel like, and it's weird because there's a couple things that Biden's administration has done that I kind of think shot him in the foot. Like their anti-crypto approach was one. I think the other thing that is concerning is like, this is Russia and China, right? Like those are supposed to be our biggest competition working together. And I think when we saw when the war in Ukraine happened and they used those sanctions on Russia, I think that was literally the nail to be like, look, see, they have too much power. We have to take it away from them. So I think my personal opinion is we have had dominance for such a long time, and going forward, they need to make sure that they secure their place. So I don't think they can take a, oh no, this is not going to happen viewpoint. And then I was like, does that make America Drake in this situation, right? Like they gotta make sure they protect their interests. I don't know. We shall see.
Well,
We shall see.
I guess my question is, do you think they're more worried about crypto or BRICS? Because I would say they're more worried about crypto than BRICS.
I say BRICS. Crypto.
Yeah, okay.
The worry behind crypto is the scammer aspect of it. It's not untraceable. Let me be very clear. You think you're buying something in the dark web and nobody knows about it, you're crazy. At the same time, I think BRICS is there because it's getting traction. All right. And if it does start to do something, it's not going to happen, like I said, in anytime soon. But I do think that it will be a major player as more countries begin to get on there. And if Donald Trump even does a fraction of the things he's saying, people are going to see more and more America as the bad guys. We're the empire in this situation, guys. I don't know if y'all think we're the rebels.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. But at the same time, I think that crypto is more so the scammer aspect of it, right? That's what they're trying to do. Because again, a lot of citizens have been scammed with crypto. We just talked about the hot coin, and that people lost thousands of dollars. There was a little kid, I think he might have been like 10, that made $30,000 in a pump and dump scheme. 10 years old, made $50,000. And is there any repercussions for it? Not at the moment, because crypto isn't being regulated like that, right? So I think that they're worried more so about BRICS as on a global scale as far as just citizens getting scammed.
Well, it's going to be tough then.
It is going to be interesting to see, especially as you see like America now kind of shuffle itself into another position where they're not necessarily the global leaders. I think that's going to be at the core of all of this. That's going to be interesting to see, and especially under the rule of Donald Trump, I don't know how if some of this stuff is going to be kind of escalated. Because I mean, and you start talking this tariff talk, it's a different conversation. So who knows? But moving along to, I would say, just more controversial stuff. 2024 has been a tireless year. I really want to go under a rock and just like pretend none of this stuff exists. But Diddy, I'm just starting with you. As someone who as a young person and someone in music, Diddy and Mace and Biggie, these were people that you look up to. And to see where Diddy is now, it's like, I don't even know who to support. Like, I don't even it's such a weird space now. And it's unfortunate because it's like, I don't understand why he had to go to this level, but then, evil doesn't know any bounds. So What are y'all thoughts on Diddy? Because it's just so much, and even more cases keep coming up every day. It's like at this point, his lawyers are making bank.
Got to. They're about to retire off this one case.
For real.
I think honestly, it's social media, and I'll bring it all together in a second. I think it's social media because you got to think. When we were younger, what do we know about celebrities? You see Brad Pitt on a red carpet for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That's the first and last time we're gonna see him in public for a while, right? He's in a movie. He's so cool. Oh my God! And then that's it, right? We didn't have him talking on Twitter. We didn't have him being caught on camera, being sent out and getting millions of views. We didn't have this information. So the way in which we looked at people was through rose-colored lenses, right? Like we saw people in a different light. Now that we are social media, the video of Diddy kicking Cassie in the elevator thing, that had been around for years. It wasn't until it was leaked out and put on social media that it circulated to the degree it did. That could have been put out the day it happened, and only a fraction of us would have seen it.
Yeah.
There's no way to look at it. There's no phone you can look at. There's no website you're looking at like that. So we're seeing in this era of more transparency, right, that celebrities are not who we thought they were. And I tell people all the time, I don't put it past anybody to do anything. I like Drake. But at the same time, if something comes out about Drake doing X, Y, Z, guess what's going to happen? That's it for me and Drake. It's not that hard. I don't have this parasocial relationship with him. But the Diddy situation is crazy because we're seeing the sins of the past come present. And it's finally being exposed.
Yeah. My one thing about this, which, not saying that I agree with anything he was doing or anything, is the timing of this and how it's happening primarily after the whole Diageo suit, right? Like, to me that's kind of interesting because, like, why we've known this stuff, why didn't this stuff come up before he started? Or I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, so bear with me. But, like, why did that happen? Why is this happening now, right? Like, and I understand that there's a lot of things in place, like the case in the law in New York that gave them to a specific time for Cassie to do to actually put the suit in there. Like, there's a lot of things, but do we feel like there's other forces that are playing in this now that Diddy won't play ball with them?
Sure. It's totally fine to speculate that, hey, because he didn't do X, Y, and Z, or because he sued these people, these things came out. But the thing is, these things happen.
He still did it.
Right? Like, and that's the thing. It's like, why didn't it come out before? Because people were hiding it. Simple as that. Real fast. When Matt Gaetz was trying to get his attorney general thing done, and Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, listen, if you want to put stuff about us, we'll put stuff about you. Yeah. And we all just heard that. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. But then I thought about it more. I'm like, wait a minute, wait. Are you saying
you have it?
Politicians did this and you know this and you're not going to, whoa, what's that about? But you see that people have this information, people say all the time. They're just waiting for them not to play ball to go ahead and expose it.
Yeah.
Is that?
And it, to me, that system bothers me as much as the acts that are the incorrect acts that are happening. Like, that, to me, that means that literally this person's evil and you're okay with the evil as long as the evil is benefiting you. But then again, I guess back to the analogy, we're just, this is a game we're playing. What are your thoughts, MVP?
So I got a couple, right? One, I definitely think it's because of him, the whole Ciroc situation, right? And now he's no longer protected, right? So that's just standard. Two, after I saw that video, I wanted to beat his ass, right? I'm not a violent guy, but I was like, and I don't believe in jumping, but I was like, this is the one time where I want to call up the homies and we gonna jump this fool. Like, you beating up on a woman like she a dude, bro, and then she not even bothering you. She's trying to get away. So that already, and I understand, it's hard because I understand the manipulation. I feel like that got leaked so we could not like Diddy, right? Because he has the power that he's had because of how much he's done for our culture and just like everything, right? And so I'm like, I don't like the fact that you're trying to manipulate me, but he did do what he did, and that was some foul stuff. And so everything else that encompasses that with the whole Diddy parties, and let me say something about the Diddy parties, bro. I'm kind of starting to get annoyed by the jokes, right? Because anything anybody do, they're like, oh, you was at a Diddy party. And I'm like, bro, y'all gotta stop. I was nowhere near there. Like, but then my thing is like, everybody went to a Diddy party, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it was the party in question.
Yeah.
So I'm like, go. I feel like Easy wants to say something. Go ahead.
Let me ask y'all a question. Is this PG-13 or what are we doing?
No.
This is
no.
No, listen, let me tell you something. Would I have been at a Diddy party? Absolutely. I'm not even going to sit here and be like, no, I would never. No, it's not be there until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
There you go.
Listen,
But again, I'm obviously in a frat, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you come through our party 9, 10 o'clock, cool. Once 1 o'clock happens, party's ending, whatever, cool. 1:30,
I'm out.
who's left? Anybody here?
I'm out.
Hey, all right, let's switch the room around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it's not hard to understand that. Yes, a Diddy party probably was super popular, super cool. I would still want to go to a Diddy party, but the after effects. And again, I like some things, but at the same time, the things in which they're discussing, I'm like, all right, man. You know what I'm saying?
I don't wanna watch that.
Anything against somebody's will, anything with somebody feels uncomfortable, that's not even cool. That's not fun for me. I don't know why I'm involved in it. So yeah, the Diddy jokes are dumb because I think it's just mostly kids. To be honest with you, just a lot of kids online. They're just saying no Diddy and all this stuff. It's like, bro, it's baby oil. We've all used baby oil. Stop it. So
I mean, I'm just saying, but the amount I never seen baby oil the size of a midget. Like the picture I saw, it was like
the $1,000 is crazy.
That's what
bottle,
I kept
and I was
saying.
like,
I got the same bottle from 2012. Like
that's what I'm like, bro. I got one bottle, bro.
label coming off. I'm like, the night.
And now, like, you know, say if I have like a young lady come over or something like that, I gotta hide the bottle. I feel self-conscious about it now. Because
I saw something on TikTok. I saw something in the TikTok shop. Somebody got baby oil now. They call it the Diddy oil. Labeled
my
on.
God.
I was like, how much is it? Let's
how much is it?
It's crazy, man, and it's just become so common at this point that it's like people also have galvanized themselves into thinking like, oh, Diddy, you talk about Diddy, you're automatically heading to the free calls. I'm like, I don't. That's not how that works. That's not how that works, and it is what it is. But
no. So the other part of the conversation, the other part of the conversation is people saying, "Oh, you're trying to bring down a black man." I'm like, "Fam, he did it." You know, what you like? If Jay-Z, now these are speculations, but if it comes out with a film, like Jay-Z did get beat up in the elevator, we don't really know why. I assume speeding, right? But if it came out with something else, all right, there's my proof. Let me get Blueprint 2 off my Spotify.
Yeah, it's you know what the hard thing about this, too, and I'll let you go after this MVP, is that these were people, for all intents and purposes, that were icons. And, you know, and it started with the R. Kellys, you know, Russell Simmons. For me, I remember as a musician going to like a school trip where we went to Russell Simmons' office. I mean, literally, this is the people you looked up to. And it's like, damn, dog, like.
But what did you know about him, though?
This is true.
You're
right.
You didn't
You're
know
right.
He made music. He's in the music video. That's it.
Yes. But it's just it's I think a battle with nostalgia because we see them and saw them as you can't do no wrong. And then, certain people have been very vocal. It's like Kanye is a perfect example. Kanye has literally been showing his ass for a long time, and you're just like, God damn it, man, you make good music, but Jesus Christ, I got to deal with all this antics, right? But if something comes out about Kanye doing something crazy, I just I couldn't take any more of it from Kanye. We've already seen so much from him. But Jay-Z has always had like a perfect manicured image, I feel like.
Richard?
And Diddy as well. Like, I remember on this show, like when he gave the money to Howard, we're like, oh, he's trying to give back the masters. All of these things, it felt like, okay, cool, he's trying to, brother love, he's trying to do better. But it looked like all he was trying to do was prepare for, buy some good fate for all the stuff that was coming now. So it's tough. But go ahead, MVP.
No, I was gonna say that it is disappointing to have your black, like, whatever you want to call them, mentors or people that inspire you. And I feel like over the past few years there is a level of like a lot of things are coming out, which I add with, hey, if you did it, the consequences should happen, right? Yeah. But it does suck because, like, we don't have too many left. Like Denzel Washington, maybe that's it.
Please,
I can't.
Like, and I should probably say his name because now something's gonna come out about him. So knock on wood.
Grandmas, like, bro, that's gonna mess up the whole ecosystem in the black community if something came up like Denzel Washington. That's
even like Will Smith has been tainted a little bit for smacking someone. And I don't feel like it's the same, obviously, but there has been like oh, see, he's a thug. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have too many black men who are not viewed as thugs within the entertainment aspect. I know there's probably like politicians and stuff, but like mainstream people that people pay attention to, like Jay-Z, but then now Jay-Z has the allegations. So there is a level of disappointment there, but I do agree that, hey, if they did the wrong, then they should do the time. And we should have a fair outlook. Like, we shouldn't be like, oh, because we love Diddy so much that he should get away with, hurting people and taking advantage of people. I don't agree with that part. So
what I just don't get is you have all this money. Jay-Z, you've been famous. Diddy too. You've been famous my entire life since I was a kid. I'm married now, but at the same time, I can
look around, check. Hello?
And I ain't had no
Check
money.
your surroundings.
You telling me if I'm rich like this, you can't find nobody that's like, I'm with that. Like, I don't, is it a money play? Are they actually doing these things? Like, I don't understand why you would be doing this.
That's the part
I
about
don't
it that
either.
makes no sense. It's like there's willing participants that
Everywhere.
would participate all of this stuff because you are who you are now, and I don't know. That's a whole other conversation.
Or is it a power thing? Like,
I think it is a power thing too.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Sounds weird, but hey, I want you, because I think, I don't want to say this about him, but he seems like a conqueror, right? That
Diddy or
sounds so
Jay-Z?
bad. Diddy. Like, he likes to conquer things. He likes to, which I don't think, like, there's a level, right? You should be ambitious. But I do think there's a level of him where, like, he likes to, like, do, like, accomplish things that he probably shouldn't do. And I think there might be a level of that. And I'm going psyche now, right? But I think there's a level of, like, hey, I could probably get away with this, or I can do this. And then when it happens, there's a sense of, like, feel good from that. So
Now I feel you, but climb Everest, Kilimanjaro, do something. Like, why we have to go to the point where you're taking people against it? Like, come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
You gotta think though. He's been Diddy for 30 years. Well,
Yeah.
P Diddy, whatever you want to call him, right? Like, he started in the 80s on the rise with Big,
Yeah.
of all people. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't know the loss. Think about something. You're balling probably maybe early 40s, late 30s. Think about yourself from 1 year old to today. You've been in charge. Somebody tells you no. What you mean no? No? I ain't heard no in 20 years. What you talking about?
But I hear that, and I 100% agree. But some of the things I feel like he also was a manipulator, because
master
he knew
manipulator.
I didn't want to say that. We're gonna save that for the Drake section. Just coming
Okay,
up.
okay.
But because it's like the alleged blowing up of Kid Cudi's car, all this stuff, and I'm like, yo, he was torturing like Cassie on Instagram. I'm like, I know he's Puff, but like at a certain point, if that was my woman, you gotta see me, bro. You gotta see me. And granted, maybe I'm being, very naive because I think I could go up against somebody like Puff. But there's certain levels where I feel like he never did none of that to 50. 50 was on his ass the whole time.
Yeah, 50 been on that for years.
So I don't know. It's just, that's the part about it that's also hard. But I mean, you're right. I mean, 30 years of rule.
Whoever keep it fifth clean deserves an award, because I'm not gonna put it on him, but I'm like 50 Cent clean.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. 50, upstanding young man.
Yeah. And honestly, he moves in a way that I'm like, he really has, like, God forbid, like, you don't even want to question it now, but he has his stuff together in a way where it's like, okay, you must be moving clean in some way. I don't know.
About 50? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I can't. Anyway, you did mention something about Will Smith, and I wanted to interject a little bit because it draw a parallel to the conversation about the standards that are there for black people. And it's like, I feel like for a long time in Hollywood, Will Smith was the perfect black man, right? Like, he did no wrong. He was he killed the box office all this time.
No profanities.
He did what I felt was like a very human thing, a very Philly thing. You said something disrespectful, and I'm gonna check you for it. Was it the right forum? Maybe not. But still, then I heard people talk about this man like if he was out there, selling drugs and doing all the crazy stuff. And I'm like, that's crazy, because how many people have done, wild stuff, and we don't give him the same level of pressure.
He slapped Chris Rock.
Huh?
He slapped Chris Rock. I think that played a part in it.
Oh, you think actually Chris Rock played a part in it? Versus,
Yeah, I feel like him slapping Chris Rock. I don't think it's a slap. Like slap. If he a slap, I don't even know a white comedian like that. But if he slapped a
Andrew
white,
Schultz.
you might be. But oh, it's gonna be like, damn, he slapped Andrew. But then we make our jokes and that's it. We move on. He slapped another icon. Like Chris Rock, to my knowledge anyway, doesn't have any scandals. Doesn't have that thug image. None of that stuff. He's just another funny dude. And he slapped him over an obvious joke, a joke that wasn't even that bad, actually.
Yeah.
When you think about it, but I think it had just been building up because Will Smith was been the butt of a joke because of Jada, but had been the butt of jokes for quite some time, and to be on that national stage in a high honor of getting an award, and you making jokes on at my expense, it just boiled up, and he acted the way he did. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that it is interesting though because they definitely and even now I feel like he's still on the comeback trail and I'm like he made a mistake. I think we could all agree that was a mistake. He's
doing well.
You know what I hate? I hate when someone like Will Smith makes a mistake and then people will be like, "See, I knew that's how he was. See, now his real self is coming out," and I'm like. Bro, people make mistakes. That doesn't mean that the whole time they were some type of person that you thought they were. Like, why can't, I just don't like the fact that society doesn't, like you said, some people who do crazy stuff all the time, it's like, oh, okay, well, he's crazy. We know that. But then someone who's been straight and narrow for most of their life makes a mistake, and then it's like, oh, yeah, I knew he was going to. See, I knew he was like that for real. I don't like that. That has nothing to do with anything, but I'm just like, I don't like it, dude.
That's right, though. But that's a lie. You didn't think Will Smith had some kind of skeletons in his closet. Like, what has he done to make you think that? Men in Black 2? Was that what made you?
But I think some of that too is, there's a hate for success and especially prolonged success.
Absolutely.
So, and he's been at it. I mean, he was a movie star for a long time.
Our whole lives.
Yeah, for a long time.
Me and my family would sit down and watch Fresh Prince on NBC every week when it came out, right? The dad episode. Everybody knows that episode. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's an iconic figure in our lives. And so when you have that success for a prolonged amount of time, like you said, people just want to see you fall. For whatever reason, good or bad,
Yeah. So, we can move on from this. So we put this the Katt Williams Club Shay interview because it seems to have created quite a ripple effect. One, it was like Club Shay's like biggest viewed thing, which their things are so long. I do not ever watch the whole thing. I don't know did anyone actually watch the whole interview?
I saw a lot of it. Yeah, an hour and a half.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was so big because it felt like he was calling out a lot of people. I think is one of the biggest things Katt Williams has done in the last couple of years. So we wanted to kind of like highlight that. And apparently there's rumors that there's another one coming, and this time he's not holding back. I don't know what that means.
What?
No, the best thing they could do is January 2025, Katt Williams Part 2. Oh my, numbers.
It's gonna be crazy.
Jesus.
It's crazy. I have to give it to Shannon Sharp too, because I feel like him leaving. I forgot the name of the show he was on with Skip Bayless. Yeah, and doing his own thing. I feel like he's doing his thing. Like I gotta respect that. So I give him his flowers there. This probably be a short one. Any feelings?
I mean, it's definitely gonna be a short one because of the time it happened. I just thought it was interesting, not just what he said, but the reaction to him from all the comedians. It seems like there was a lot of bad blood in that community, and he called out everybody, in some of those high name people like Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer. Just to hear that, I know like there's things that's stolen, right? But just to hear some of them jokes actually were stolen, or some of the characters were stolen. Like when he compared the I don't know if y'all seen the Steve Harvey one when he was like a principal.
Yeah,
and then right? Steve Harvey show, and then the guy I think it's hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Oh yeah,
well, Mark Cooper,
yeah. And I was like, damn, like these are things I've grown up watching, and so to see like certain things happen behind the scenes, I feel like Katt Williams wasn't supposed to do that. He wasn't supposed to shed light on that. But Katt Williams has always been real, and I feel like I gained a new level of respect for like because they always make him seem crazy, right? And I think it's because he's not the which he has a level of craziness, right? But I think it's a level of not being a sheep and going with the crew, or being like, oh, because y'all are the popular guys, I'm going to kiss your ass type of thing. And so I did appreciate his transparency with that, but just the backlash from his peers was just crazy to me. I just thought that part was super interesting.
No, you're right. I feel as though the interview shed a lot of light on a lot of things. The joke stealing, right? Remember we talked about how social media is exposed a lot. There's a time where you can you can go to a Katt Williams set, see a joke, go to the other side of the country, steal it. And if it's popular enough, it's your joke now.
Yes.
Now we have timestamp proof of these things happening. I watched Comic View. I saw Kevin Hart's rise when he had on the denim suits. I saw when Katt Williams was on there. Like, I've watched them since I was a kid. And to see these jokes, I'm like, wait a minute, didn't I hear that somewhere? And finding out it's true. Katt Williams said a lot of light, but I'm sick of people saying I got so much to say about something, but not naming no names. Like, if you're not gonna name names, keep on the playground. I'm glad that he started. Hey, you right there. He messed me over. That person. I want more of that. I want that transparency. Is it messy? Sure, but it's what happened.
Yeah. And that's what it sounds like, episode 2 or take 2 of this is going to look like. So we shall see.
And one more call out to Shay. It's just such a crazy name. But, and this is from a content creator aspect. I love how he released that content, yo. Like, he, talking about chopping up a large piece of work or whatever and just chopping the hell out of it. Like, after it went viral, I just saw clip after clip of just small pieces that he himself chopped up, and it just made it last. I think just the discussion of it last even longer than it would have if he had just put out that one large interview. So I just wanted to give him a shout out for that, because ideally, in crowd would like to do stuff like that too as well, making our content last and chopping up the high level points, I guess you would say. And he did a master class at that. I just want to.
But that's what I've always told people that make long form content like this. This is an hour and a half, right? We take a couple segments, a minute here, a 10-minute joint, put it on YouTube, and then release the entire thing. It's a lead up, right? You have something go viral, maybe us saying some crazy stuff, right? Put that on TikTok, Instagram, that goes crazy, and it just leads people to that faucet, right? To that entire pool of water. I mean, that Shannon Sharp's doing a timeless thing, a timeless plan of strategy of getting people interested in something before it happens. Because I had seen the first 7 minutes of it on Instagram. You put a thing on YouTube. Oh, it does crazy number.
Yeah.
So masterclass. Yeah.
100%. Definitely 100%. Okay. Well, after we had a lighter topic, did we go straight into what was the biggest beef of, technically the second biggest beef, because I think the presidential thing was the biggest beef. But the second biggest beef, biggest beef of 2024, which is, I'm gonna say Kendrick versus Drake, because put the loser last, because I definitely think Drake got his ass handed to him in a way that I don't think he expected. I don't think he expected this, even to the point where his inner Karen came out, and now he's suing. Well, going to sue. But, it's very interesting. What are your initial takes on this whole Kendrick versus Drake?
I think that I'm a Drake guy. I'll be the Drake guy on this situation, okay? I think Drake's had the best song in the beef. I will say that. Was it Family Ties? The one where it was 8 versus 1, let's be honest. He held his own against that, in my opinion. He lit up every single person. The only person that he did not beat, in my opinion, was Kendrick. I'll give him that. I think what happened, though, on a granular topic point, was that the ecosystem in rap was disrupted. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. Essentially, you have Kendrick, who was more of a deeper, lyrical, I'm really thinking about this type of music guy. Is he going to make a couple hits and play in the club? Not really, but they will be big songs. You had Drake, who had been around our entire adult lives and given us a lot of songs that we play, quote, emulate all the time. There were two separate sides of the spectrum when it came to rap. When the beef happened, I assumed we would just listen to it, pick our winner, and move on. But for some reason, everybody decided that I hate Drake. I've always hated Drake. You've hated Drake your entire. You're 32. You've hated Drake since you were 15. Are you sure? Right? And so for me, it put a wrench in the entire music industry because there really isn't a guy that is giving us hits like that.
No.
And if Drake decides, you know what, y'all didn't like me this whole time, I'm cool. Now what are we gonna do? Because when we sit here and we look at Kendrick's album, how many songs from there have gone crazy? 2. The SZA one is the Luther Vandross one the same thing as SZA?
Yeah.
Everything? There's one other one then.
Yeah. TV off, I think.
What
So-
are we gonna jam to that for the rest of 2025?
So yes, okay, and I'll be the Kendrick person because I think MVP is in the middle.
You already know.
I agree with your points, and I think that this goes back to the conversation we had earlier about success. Drake has been successful for a very long time. He has had the machine that allowed him to be number one, and with that has come a lot of controversy that people are now pointing to be the thing. And I think that what you're seeing at the core for a lot of people is that jealousy, right? Like it's like this guy has been on. We found out he had ghostwriters in certain songs, and that didn't kill him. That was supposed to be the nail in the coffin for rappers. I realized it did nothing to his image. It just kept on going. So like, damn, this dude is a superstar. I think what happened between him and Kendrick was real. That was as Taylor Swift says, that's bad blood. That was real. Like they did not like each other.
It's done. Like 10 years. Like
and I think something else happened, but like after the Control verse, I think that was kind of like the beginning of where this was going. I've always listened to Drake music, and I will still listen to Drake music, but I've always been a Kendrick fan. And as someone who has always seemed to be on the losing side of a rap beef, it's happy to be on the winning side. With Jay-Z and Nas, I was a Jay-Z fan. With Biggie and Tupac, I was a Biggie fan. But I mean, that's still up in the air who won that because there was deaths included. So personally, this is my victory lap. The one thing I would say is that Kendrick has put together what I think is such an impressive rollout behind this, because to your point, it could have just been music and then we left. But then, I think Drake poked at him, he didn't say anything. Kendrick dropped, then Kendrick dropped again. It was like a masterclass in that. And then he did the pop out, and then he got the Super Bowl, and it's just like, in my mind, this was just a well put together run of hate. And he really hates this dude. He really hates this dude. So but to your point, there is no follow up, because only other person, J. Cole is there, but then people are, questioning him for stepping out, which I want to talk about at some point. But like, there is no one who's going to light the charts up like that. So I don't know.
Yeah. So one thing I want to call out is I think that, so I'm more Drake than Kendrick. Let me just state that, right? I'm not like, oh my God, like Drake, or oh my God, Kendrick. But from a music standpoint, I prefer Drake's music over Kendrick. But I'm also a person who likes like lyrics and actually putting thought into them. So that's why I give Kendrick some points over there. But from a what's beef standpoint, I think Kendrick manipulated him, because when he did that team up with Future in Metro and said what he said and brought Drake out, I think he already had an idea of where he was going to. He's like, if he bites, please let him bite. Please let him bite.
Future didn't know. Future was like, what happened?
Future thought it's one of those things where it's like Future thought he was the one, or Metro Boomin thought they were the ones. Like, hey, let's put Kendrick on here. And Kendrick was like, no, yeah, it's your idea, but it's really my idea. Because the way he released everything, go ahead.
I would just interject. I don't think that's the case. I think Drake started this because they sent the feature request for first person shooter over.
Right.
And that was before Like That came out. And so I think at that point, Metro and Future already had their issue. Like, they literally were, I think that it was just a perfect timing. And they were like, yo, you know what? This dude, he been going at it for too long. Let's get K-Dot, because we know K-Dot don't like him. That's how I think. I don't know that to be true.
I don't think Future had beef. I think Future because again, when Drake came back with what he said, he touched on Future, but didn't really. He's like, dog, what was that about? And he just kept going with everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever meant for Future to be involved. That's why Future was like,
he's in the middle.
yeah, what's going on? But Metro 100% was like,
Metro was on it. Metro
Metro was on it, and that's why we got that famous line from that. Go make some drums. But my thing is, I don't think that's initiating beef. If I ask you to come on a song, people's response to that is like, well, he knew he didn't bang with him like that. But I'm like, well, then that's a reaching out a hand as a branch and saying, hey, let's all get on this song. I don't necessarily think that's a beef starter. It's not supposed to be, I guess. Like from Drake's point of view, I would guess he wasn't trying to like. He actually wanted him to be on the song, and they were all going to just do their thing on it.
It's been
yeah, but Kendrick took that as a level of disrespect, maybe in his mind, and it was like, okay, you gonna invite me on the song, and I don't really bang with you like that. So I still think Kendrick, especially just the impact it had, it was actually impactful. I don't know how many songs we've had come out that's been impactful.
There might be a level of a differentiation between street and business, right? From a business standpoint, let's say it's all three of us. You, K-Styles, you don't like me, right? But for the sake of this, we the biggest artists in the game. Put Easy Shot on the track, and I'm like, man, I don't bang with him at all, bro. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to diss him myself. That's like LOA. What are you doing, brother? With this to be the biggest song of your career, what are we doing? So.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I think that at the core of a lot of this too, this was an opportunity for like Kendrick to pop out. I didn't do that intentionally, but it was it was an opportunity for him to kind of change his style. And even with, I personally like GNX, but as I said, I've been a Kendrick fan since Section 80, so like this is not even like I'm just riding the bandwagon. I've literally put multiple people on the Kendrick. But to your point, he's. We have to see if he's going to be feat because he's doing the LA song right now. Is he going to feat? But then, truthfully, Drake has been slowing down on his releasing too. So, I mean, at least to me, I correct me if I'm wrong.
He's released every year.
He's put out something every single year.
But the last project was the last project?
Last year.
What was it? I can't remember what it was.
I remember.
But I remember it didn't have the same like, oh, this is a Drake record. Plus,
there has been a level of
a little decline,
down,
a little decline.
Yeah, I think he's been trying to do more of like the vibey stuff than actually quality, if that makes any sense. So yes, but there are still songs that people can play and jam to in all his bodies of work. So to go back to Easy's point, I'm like, yo. Yes, Styles, you are Kendrick. But there's a lot of people out there who weren't Kendrick, but they're not Drake. And now that they see Kendrick is not banging with Drake, now they're Kendrick. But I'm like, hey, what if Drake, like Easy said, what if Drake just be like, yo, I'm just done giving y'all bangers. I just don't want to rely on Kendrick for the next 5 to 10 years to be dropping music every year and giving us something. You know what I mean? I don't expect Kendrick to do that. Like he's doing his run, and he's been able to just capitalize on it. But I think he's gonna go back and chill in a little bit.
Let me say this: we've had a Drake album every year up into 2015, and then after that was 2013. It was bi-yearly, right? So we've had a Drake album or project of some kind every single year except maybe like 2 or 3. You see what I'm saying? K-Dot, on the other hand, he has 5 albums now?
Yeah.
Right? And they come out once every 4 years. But he put out one every 2 years, these last 2. Yeah. So do we expect Kendrick to come out with something next year? No. Maybe 2026? Maybe. But again, if he takes that break, do we listen to his album and let that run and that be the charge? Who are we going to have in charge now? Boss Man D-Lo? Moneybag Yo, like who's about to take the reins if Drake decides that's it for right now?
So we had this. Hold on, I gotta let Easy know. We had a segment or something. I don't know if we did it on the podcast or somewhere or the music. I think the music show.
Not to cut you off.
The question was, and it was hard for people to answer. Hey, if it's not Drake, then who is it? Give me 3. I got a gun to your head. Give me 3.
Future dropped 2 albums to this year. Name a song on that second album.
Yeah.
So who?
Well, one of the things I would say, and it's funny because the whole like suit against UMG and stuff like that. I feel like the machine has made it so that it is only one, right? Like we don't have the next generation of like hit makers because they're like, well, the machine is pushing Drake. Not to say that Drake's music is not good. I'm just saying like the machine has been benefiting from him, and now it. Once again, I feel like the theme of this whole thing is like, once you don't play ball, then it's a problem. Because I think he was about to come back and knock him over the head. Because apparently he had literally finished his contractual obligations and was negotiating for another go, and it was going to be probably the biggest deal.
Like 600.
So I think that it's interesting, but at the same time, I do think that this is a space for people. To your point, put it out your mixtape. Stop putting out your music. We need more people because we can't rely on the same. This is the longest run where we've relied on this one person to feed the streets. We need more.
Features,
I feel like a lot of people don't
albums.
have it. A lot of people don't have it. Like you gotta think, Lil Baby had it. Then he put out some
What
trash.
happened?
The Baby had it too. He had the Rolling Loud experience.
Yeah,
like
I
these
know what
guys
happened to that
have
one.
it, but they don't have the acumen, the business acumen to continuously go. We haven't seen anybody like that because they're starting to pivot, but they let that street out at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Right? The Baby he might not have given you classic albums, but he would have gave you a banger a year, which is enough to feed the streets. You know what I'm saying? But they don't have the longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, because it's not even just Drake. I think from a just like culture standpoint, I don't know who's gonna be the next Jay-Z's, Drake's, or whatever, right? Because like the if we're talking the top three, quote unquote, at this point, they've been running that for a while, right? There's no one I can think of that's really going to be able to take the reins on that, and these guys are getting older too. So I'm like, it's kind of crazy. It's either the music has just gotten worse, or people are getting lazy because they're like, hey, let me do a quick 2-minute song and do that times however many until I get viral and get a little bit of money, then I'm out. Cause like, I don't know who's even showing me the potential.
I don't think there really
being
is
that.
one. I don't think there really is one. You got to think. So Tyler, the Creator, came out with an album. Love Tyler, the Creator, going to his show, right? But he has a certain subsect of rap. Will it be Grammy nominated? Absolutely. Will it go platinum? Absolutely. But will it be a national hit? No. And I think that's very hard to do. There is money that's behind it. There is a certain brand recognition behind it. You can't really be the face of Target or the face of H&M with like trying to be street. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if we'll even see anybody come close to that level of success. I think that's done. It died in the mixtape era, and it definitely died during this whole Drake run.
Interesting. Yeah. So I guess the one question I had was about the J. Cole thing, which I think we all kind of have the same. I watch your responses when I mentioned it. Well, like, do you feel like that automatically moved him out of the top three? Like him stepping down?
Well, I never was really the biggest J. Cole fan. I listened to it. I like what he has going on, but as far as him being part of the big three lyrically, I assume I'm with everybody. Cool, that's fine. Do I think that his actions moved him out? A bit, right? Okay. Rap has been very competitive, right? It's very, very primal when it comes to that. And when the beat comes to your door, when another territorial individual comes into your territory, how do you react? If you run, that's no longer your territory. So we can call it whatever we want to call it, but when it was time to put out something, he put out something that wasn't well received. What did he do? Instead of standing on it, he took it down. Took it down. We didn't see it no more. So in my opinion, hey man, you yielded. So you're out of there. Who we got next? Drake stood on business. Did he lose? Yes. But he stood on his own. Every song is still up except for that Tupac one. That's what it is. So I think he did look ranks.
The one thing I would say, because I'm also a J. Cole fan, so I'm just taking all the bullets today, is I do think that J. Cole, the beef was clearly with Drake, right? Like I feel like in that thing, he merely was a bystander, and I feel like he got the battery in his back because after you heard what he did with Benny the Butcher, after you heard when he did all the stuff that he the records he's been putting out where he's just flaming them, to then put out that very subpar record. It felt like he got the battery in the back. You got to say something, and he did it, and it wasn't that great. And my biggest thing is, for me, I think it represented a different space because I don't think he's ever been that. Even though I guess he pops his shit on the records, he's never been that like I'm gonna go at your head type of person. And I think that we definitely need space of that in music as well because not everybody needs to be the number one, and that's why I feel like even I don't know if you listen to Port Antonio, that is a fire record to me, and it just feels like some of the stuff that we need from a music standpoint. So once again, is it going to feed the streets? No. But is it something that gives us, like introspective, something to think about, something to vibe to? I'm Team J. Cole when it comes to that.
So my thoughts on it is, I maybe selfishly do not want to remove him from the conversation. I understand the lack of strength that he showed in backing down. But I guess my issue is we only got but so many people who actually put effort into their music and actually use words and lyrics. Like I don't understand why something can't be vibey and have meaning to it. It's like it's either or. It's either it's vibey or it's super conscious. And there's only so many people who can do both and mend it like that. And so selfishly, I will not allow it. I will be the one who's like, hey, he's still in the conversation. Y'all just mad that he's grown up. And I'm like, everybody wants everybody to crash out, bro. And that's the state of the world right now. And I'm like, I'm a very firm believer. Hey, I'm not going to crash out unless I want to crash out. So he did crash out. And then he's like, hold up. I'm feeding into that peer pressure level of things. And so I'm like, hey, if he choked, which is, I do still feel like, damn, bro, you kind of backed out. But if that's your choice, then you stand on that. Hey, and he did. He said, hey, that was out of character. My bad. Let me fall back. And then in hindsight, that was the smartest thing he could ever did because Kendrick just killed Drake, right? So, and J. Cole would have been a part of that that massacre.
Right.
So if anything, I'm like, J. Cole is smart, right? And I'm like, unless his quality of music takes a hit, he's still in the conversation. Like you can't do that, and that's how I feel about it.
I feel bad for, honestly, in all this, and it has nothing to do with those three people. I feel bad for Big Sean.
I should have said
Number one, he should be in the conversation. Let's be very clear. Big Sean was very in the mid 2010s. But timeline, the future Kendrick Lamar song comes out. Then Big Sean drops a single. I mean, people don't even know that. He dropped the single. Then the beef starts. Then his birthday happens. And then Kendrick responds to Drake. And in all of that, all of Big Sean's work, he has been gone for years. Came out with something finally, totally overshadowed by two of the biggest stars going in. So I feel bad for him. I'm like, dog, you just picked the wrong top of everything that happened in your life, bro. But
somebody was joking and saying that like that's the real person in the beef because like when Control happened, that happened on Big Sean's album too. So it's like Big Sean just completely keeps getting overshadowed. But
yes, for no reason, bro. He just picked the wrong time.
Catches
You gonna start
strays.
sending out emails. Is anybody beefing next week before I do this? Okay, here we go.
He's not tapped
We're
in,
good to
is
go.
he?
Yeah,
He should have had some resources out there, like yo, Drake and this dude, because apparently, like for example, Joe Budden, they knew some of the tracks that was behind the scenes already before they even came out. Oh yeah, they got something cooked up in the kitchen over there. Oh yeah, they got something cooked over in the kitchen, and nobody called Big Sean and was like, hey,
stay away.
just leave it.
Right. Wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute. Nobody called him. Damn.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
That is. So I don't think we have anything else on this. This is kind of. It's gonna be interesting to see what the Super Bowl thing is. I guess we didn't touch on the Lil Wayne thing, but I don't know if that even mattered.
I don't think he really cared. I think he was just like saying, "Hey man, he's only hurt," but it's nothing to get against Kendrick. Did he call and congratulate him? Why? Why does he need to? Like, nah.
Yeah, I think that was one of the areas too where people projected their own feelings on it because you heard Nicki Minaj ranting and even Juvie was like, "Oh yeah, well it should have been him," and I'm just like, I don't. But what has Lil Wayne released recently? I mean, maybe I'm lost because I just haven't heard it. But has he been active recent?
No, I think his last album was, I think, right when the Rona started. It was some album. It was good, but I think that's the last thing.
Yeah. So
I also don't feel like just because it's your city that you should be entitled to perform, bro.
Well, that's how
Like,
Atlanta felt. And that was true. We should have had more Atlanta people during our thing. But this I give a pass. He shouldn't have been,
yeah.
and I hear his performances has gotten worse.
terrible. He performed great. He performed. So we went to go see Drake in Miami, and he brought out Wayne. I'm jamming my heart out. Is it hard to hear him? Yeah, a bit, but I know the words. The rest of the kids, who is this old man? Get this old man out of here? You know what I'm saying? So that's just how we go.
Damn, not Lil Wayne. Say it ain't so.
I mean, so I guess moving off of this topic, the last two topics we have, which this one might be a little bit short, it's pretty much like the crypto bull run after the elections, and then kind of what crypto's doing right now, and the expectation that it's going to boom again after the inauguration. So it's an interesting thing. I am like mildly connected to crypto. I know I need to do better at like getting on it, but like we have some people that like go super ham. What are your thoughts, Easy, on like this boom, and are you participating any?
Crypto, like I said, is very volatile. I know my wife was early on Doge. She got in at like a penny. Told me about it. I got in at 4 cents. So she ended up buying a Tesla for that. Great.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, exactly. But outside of that, it's volatile. It's gambling. I'm a gambler at heart.
Yeah.
You understand? You can't spend more than you're willing to lose. That's all I know. That's all I tell folks about it. Don't go in there and spend 30,000 on something you hoped for. Like, bro, you can't lose that 30 bands, dog. Like, maybe 500 and see where it goes. But I think it will begin to boom. Like anything with the stock market, Trump is good for businesses, not necessarily good for consumers or good for individuals, but good for business. And in turn, if you do it right, you can win. But I don't think overall people should really put all their life savings into crypto.
Yeah, but are people putting their life savings into stock? It's just a weird thing that it's like you're trying to catch the wave, and to me, once you're trying to catch the wave's gone. Like
it's over.
Yeah, it's too late, and that happened to me with Doge. I was like, I jumped in at when it was stupid high, and I'm like, oh, god damn it, this was dumb. I knew I shouldn't.
Yeah, then the SNL show happened, and when you sent our live.
Oh yeah,
we were waiting for that, and then and nothing. So
I will say that, and this is probably like a sidebar to this, but I think with the whole crypto surgency, like people being like into it, it did create more awareness in my friend groups of like just stocks in general. Like this is probably this year, last year, past few years, it's probably been the first time I've really had like actual conversations with my friends about stocks. And coming from a black community, I think it's important that we're tapped into that. And so I do like crypto might be volatile and go back and forth and like it's taking a chance and gambling and all this other stuff. But I do think it's important that we are aware of like just the world of stocks, because growing up, there is no financial classes in the schools I was going to, right? And so something as simple as Doge has like brought people into this realm that they're not normally in. And I think that aspect of it is cool.
Yeah.
That's what I want to put out there.
I mean, financial literacy is going to be very important. I mean, I don't know if there's even a class you teach about the volatility of digital currency. But at some point, understanding how money works and how you can get involved in crypto is probably a thing. This is another policy that Kamala Harris had, was to help with the regulation and the literacy of crypto. But unfortunately, like I said, we're out of that. So it's just kind of going to be the Wild West for quite some time. I don't really see them stepping in and doing anything about it, because a lot of people are making a lot of money doing crypto. I don't think until we see a lot more of us, if you get what I'm saying, making money with crypto, that we'll see more regulations happen. But as long as it's in the other hands, that's going to be what it is, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that takes us to probably the largest story of 2024, which is Donald Trump becoming president again. I don't, where do you start? Like, I didn't expect us to be here. And then that's not like, I don't, not trying to cause any risk between people, but like I didn't think he was gonna win. And there's a lot of conversations of faults, but what's your thoughts? I feel like you're ready.
So I get my piece and I got to go. I'm looking. We're getting a house, so I got to go look
Got
at
you.
some houses. But
Got you.
I'll say this. Donald Trump ran a campaign on hate. Because I'm a political streamer, political commentator, I had to watch rallies. When I tell you he didn't ever really go into how he was going to make the three things that people really care about, which is gas, food, and rent, cheaper in any way, he never spoke about that. Time and time again, economists, people whose entire careers were revolving around certain topics, people would say, I don't want to hear that. Donald Trump told me something different. I think the uneducated people in America were sold a dream. And this dream is currently happening right now. It's now our reality. We've seen in the month since the election has happened, we've already seen interviews with Donald Trump saying, hey, I don't think I can bring down grocery prices. We said that. This is the free market. Why would I lower my prices because people can't afford it? Somebody afforded it. We had a great Q3. We had a great Q4. So we're not going to lower anything. And the president can't tell us how much to charge our things. I think that honestly this is going to cause more division because people took this as like a sports team winning. When I make my videos and then I can see when it gets into the red pill community because you'll start seeing people say, oh, cry harder. Sir, you live in a trailer park. I live on the top story of a building. Like, we're not the same. I'm trying to help for you. But they feel as though they've won some sort of battle because nobody really spoke to, and this I give Donald Trump credit, no one spoke to the poor whites in America. When I say poor, I mean, less than 100K. And not, but no one really spoke to them. They wanted to talk to minorities, talk to other industry leaders, but they never really spoke to middle of America, people that didn't have anything. And being that he was their advocate, that's why they're ride or die for them. The traditional Republicans, suit and tie, I make $750 a year. Those Republicans kind of took a step back, like, yo, this dude's kind of crazy. But they saw that he is the wave. So you see more politicians who are crazy kind of ride with them. And now look at his cabinet. 11 people from Fox News. A lot of them from Project 2025. Some of them have criminal allegations against them. But they're all loyalists.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And the thing that I guess, you say you got to wrap
I'll catch the response when the thing drops. But, gentlemen, this has been great.
Appreciate you.
I really appreciate you. Let me know next time. I'll be down, brother. I love it.
All right. Cool. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
I'll take care, bro.
Peace.
You too.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing for me is like, what's it gonna be like? Like, where do we go from now, right? Like, I agree everything he said. It's like, how do we end up in a space where like we have to deal with the win of these people that he was discussing? Like, I don't know, what's it gonna look like?
Yeah, I think that for me, it's been a disappointing realization of what society is like. I understand as I've had more conversations with people that people are just not aware or whatever. Like, and I think Easy has a point. Like, it's more about the win than anything, right? It's not really about what the win means. And my issue is just that, and I've said this throughout this show today, like, I'm always cautious of how things are perceived, and you voting someone like Trump. Hiring, right? But you're voting someone like Trump in, it sets a view to younger kids or younger whoever they are or whoever that, certain things that aren't supposed to be acceptable are acceptable. And I don't care who you are, Republican, Democrat, or whatever you are, I will never be behind things that are unacceptable. Right?
Well,
like I don't know if people were aware, but like Trump said, "Hey, COVID ain't a thing."
Recently?
Before when COVID was a thing.
Yeah.
And his administration did not take the steps or put the things in place to stop it from spreading, and a lot of people died.
Yeah.
There's nowhere in my mind where I find that acceptable. Hey, the whole Capitol thing happened. People died. There's nowhere in my mind, no matter if you're Republican, nowhere in my mind where you incite that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
The being a felon aspect of things. Now, I just don't think that your president should be a felon. Especially when it's things that he actually did. Like, it'd be different if like he was set up or something like that, or like, oh, I was in the wrong place. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, something like that. But this is just him being him. And then he tells you that, like, to your face, that he gonna do what he want to do. And I don't necessarily know if you should want a president who's gonna just do what they want to do. They're not gonna take into consideration all these other things. So I'm not gonna stay long with this because I think we do have to wrap it up. But my thing is like, I am nervous to see what the state of the world's gonna be in the next 2 years. Hopefully, and it sounds crazy to say this, hopefully I'm wrong and he does an amazing job. Yeah. Because if he doesn't, it's going to be a problem for us. So it's kind of like, now that we on this ship, I hope that the ship keeps going across the sea to our destination. Like, if I'm on it, but I'm like, we're going to see what happens. But for right now, there is a level of like uncertainty that I have.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing right now that we're seeing is that one of the things that is very clear is that, like, I feel like the Democrats were playing a game that the Republicans aren't playing anymore. The Democrats were like playing politics, whereas the Democrats were playing politics. As far as the Republicans, Donald Trump. Let's not even say the Republicans. I think Donald Trump is very good at mastering the social media and simplifying his message so that everybody who hears him, that likes him, understands what he's saying. And I think that's the difference. It's like, I remember one thing that VP Harris said, where she was like, yeah, we don't want somebody like him in the Situation Room. And I'm like, the average person doesn't care about the Situation Room, nor knows what it means in the first place. And I think that we just ended up in a place where I think that the Democrats look like the establishment to the people who don't know any better. And the establishment literally led to this feeling of they're elitist and they don't care about us. So, I guess time will tell. Time will tell. But
I'll say this one last thing. And this, I feel like I've been doing this whole show. Like, we have the topic that we're talking about, but I also want to put a little bit of like thought and psyche into it. I just would caution people from disowning someone based on who they voted for as president. Like let's leave this conversation like, hey, we have disagreements. People voted for who they voted for. I don't think that should initiate some type of like, okay, well, especially like, just for example, it's your family member, someone you're cool with, and you're like, hold on, you voted for who? And now they're disowned. I think we should like, let's not. This is like, politics and the state of the world is serious, but we should not be canceling people because of their opinions on something like this, right? Like, yes, some people like hate Trump, some people hate Kamala. Gotta make sure I say it right because they'll cancel me for not saying her name right. But I would just caution, wanting to go to the extreme of like, yo, like, if I see you, it's beef on sight because you voted for this person. Like, I would caution that. That's all.
We're gonna do a juxtapose, kind of diving into that, because I think this is the effects of like cancel culture, and honestly, I think in the long run, this is gonna be negatively affecting our next election, because what it's gonna do is drive a wedge between people to the point where they're not even communicating. And one of the worst things you can have, especially in this time where the algorithms are already separating people based on their predefined whatever, is to deal with the idea that I don't talk to this person because we have different views. Because then we just in all echo chambers, and then what's going to happen is at the end of the day is these people are going to continue to feel away and not know that there's even a different opinion. So anywho, with that being said, this has been one of our longest ones. Shout out to Easy for joining. He had to drop off a little early. But thank you. If you made it this far, we really mess with you. This has been another episode of Wrapped. We wrapped up the whole year of 2024
Yeah.
as succinctly as possible. Because good Lord, there was a lot of stuff. Good Lord, there was a lot of stuff.
What
But
happened in 2024?
yeah, thank you MVP for making it. Thank you Easy
Yes, sir.
for making it. Peace.